Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to jump into a couple of easy jobs that require nothing for somebody to get into. And you know that this channel is all about helping people out, giving positive advice, positive vibes, just the pursuit of everybody just getting to a better place in life. And so I know that sometimes people have trouble when it comes to, say, finding extra income, the workspace, and a lot of times, we don't really know where to start. So I figured, let me present to you guys three jobs that require nothing for you to do. You can literally do without either having experience. One is more physical than the other. One is a little in between, and one is not physical at all. And they really require very little. And we'll just jump into it because, like I said, it's really just about an option for you guys, whether you want to be a side option, whether you're young, you need to be your primary option. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is a day labor, day laborer. If you know you're familiar with that, and if you're not, breaking it down, essentially what it is that um, is you doing work for the day, and depending on the area that you're at or where you're living, you can probably make somewhere between like $50 to $100 for the day just to provide your services in terms of things like maybe like painting, handyman work, things of that sort. That's what it means to be a day laborer. And as far as how you get into that, there's a lot of towns that will have just a corner where people stand in the early morning. You might see it if you get up at like 6 in the morning. Often they're sometimes near small hardware stores if you kind of live in a small town where you might have people just kind of standing there waiting to be picked up early in the morning. It's almost a kind of universal understood thing that early in the morning is when they'll come. If you miss it, if you miss that ride or that pickup, then that's it. You're not going to see them come back there. You're not going to see the people standing around for a day, or in the day anymore at that point. So it's usually early, but you can usually find them in most towns, especially big cities. So if you live near a big city and you don't see nothing like that in your town, you can go to the big city. But another place that you also almost always find them, and almost every area has this, you can find them in front of a Home Depot or Lowe's. If you get there like 6 in the morning, you stand out there, and you, especially to boost your chances up of being picked up, have your have a little basic toolkit with you, a little basic setup. Maybe you have like a little tiny like bag that's only about like a foot long and maybe like a foot tall. One of those kind of little tiny tool bags that maybe you got like a power drill, some basic stuff that everyone has around the house. I just say this to spruce it up. You really don't have to have anything, but just to spruce it up a little bit, have like a little like maybe a drill, screwdriver, a hammer, some little basic tools that you would have around your house anyway, and then have them in a little bag. You can even have them in a little Target bag because nowadays you don't get free plastic bags or free paper bags anymore. So most people always have Target bags to carry around. But have yourself a little bag, throw your tools inside it, but essentially be at those locations, whether it's a hardware store around your area or go around a Home Depot or Lowe's, 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, stand there. Even if you're not sure, stand there, see, go to pass by, even if you're not ready to do it right now, but just get up one morning, go at like 5 or 6 in the morning, park in the parking lot, stand, just sit there and just watch. You're going to probably see, most likely, people who are standing out there and they look like they're dressed to do work, like they're painters work or construction work. They're in like, they're kind of more work clothes, dingy clothes that's ready, that looks like they have paint on them. It looks like they've been working in. And you're going to see them. They're going to be standing out there and someone's going to come by, whether it's a big truck or someone who's on a project. And when people need work done and they need someone for the day, this is a kind of universally known thing. They just go to these places, especially now that things like Home Depot and Lowe's has been a mainstay in the last, 20, 30 years or something like that. Um, those are places where people are going to be. They go in there for handiwork. It's understood because you have a lot of these contractors who go in there to buy stuff anyway in terms of supplies. So it's universally known. It's universally understood. You don't need no kind of working papers, no kind of whatever, no credentials. You just stand there. They pick out a few people. They say, if I need 5 guys and you're just standing right there, cool, grab you. And that's it. So that's an option right there. You can easily make somewhere between like $50 and $100 I've done it one time years back when I was younger. I actually did it with a family member who was the main person who was doing the project, but I saw how they went to one of these spots, and we needed an extra man for the job, and just picked one up. Hey, listen, you need work? Yeah, they jumped in. We went to the destination, did some work for the day, did some painting, did some work, put up some like doors and stuff like that, and that was it. The person got paid like $100, and after me seeing that, it was just something to always keep in the back of your head, back in my head, and obviously I'm sharing with you guys when it comes to that. So the next thing, let me not stick too long on each one. There's only three of these. So the next one, that's more physical labor intensive. The next thing is less in the physical department, and that is writing, um, or creating books. So for any of you guys I know everyone's familiar with Amazon, but not everybody is maybe familiar with Amazon's. Um, it's called KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, and essentially what happened is, so Amazon used to work with a company called CreateSpace, which was a kind of, how should I say this? It was a way for you to do self-publishing online, similar to companies like Blurb, if you heard of them. Before it was CreateSpace, and I think there was another one, a third one that was pretty big. And what happened over time is that when Amazon got bigger and they already had their Kindle market, instead of using CreateSpace as like a third party, they just fused them into their company and then just said it was linked with Kindle, and they called it Kindle Direct Publishing. And at that point, it became one entity where it was just, okay, one stop shop to create your book content, publish it on Amazon, free of charge, no cost. And it's a pay on demand type of service. So anyone who orders your book, they just pay for it and then it gets made. If it's a physical copy, if it's a digital copy like an ebook, then obviously they pay for it and they get to download it directly. So the way that essentially it will work is you can either use um, their program, you could download their program and then work out your stuff like that. Or if you got Microsoft Word, or if you got Pages for Apple, for MacBook, you can use that, which is a word processing program. Or there are a couple other free Word document programs that you can kind of go and look up online if you aren't able to pay for one. There's a couple of different ones that you could look up that are for free. I don't recall any of those names at the moment, but I know there's a couple of free ones. And essentially, so you could write up a book, whatever you want to do. If you want to do that, write your own thoughts, write whatever you want to come up with. Take a random photo with your cell phone to have a background photo for your cover page, whatever it is. Get a picture of nature, anything you want. Write up your thing in a Word document, or a word processing program, and come up with whatever you want to do. You want to write stories? Write stories. You may not be good at writing stories. Let me give you a tip. Take a story that you already know, like a movie, in the same way you were able to go to the movies, watch a movie, and then when you tell your friends, hey, guess what? I seen that movie, and you go from all the way from the beginning all the way to the end, explaining almost every single detail. You essentially just describe the story. Guess a little trick that I learned that people can do. I've never done this before, but I've seen this for people who got into that space of creating books and stories. You could literally take a story that is copywritten, change all the characters in it, change the basis of the story, maybe change it up a little bit. So, for example, take a story like The Lord of the Rings, right? And say if you said, okay, I want to make a group who gets together, and maybe they go and they find some magical gem, and they got to get this gem from point A to point B. Um, and it's a fantasy realm world, and they have these monsters going after them because this gem is the most powerful gem in the world, and it gives you these powers. So they form a group to have to go and get this gem from point A to point B, how you want to shape it. And you basically tell almost the same story, but you switch a lot of components in it that make it a different story. But that's the backbone of it is the same thing as that media that you were pulling the story from. Guess what? You don't get in trouble for copyright aspects You end up making it your own story by putting all these elements in it and character names that are your own, and you have a story. In addition to that, there are some materials that are considered, I don't know the term that they call them, but almost like stories that don't have copyright rules to them. So, for example, you've got a lot of Disney stories, for example, like Hercules, or like I think Aladdin is one of them because I've seen someone use something like that. But they took a spin where they didn't have none of the characters' names in it, but they wrote these books that were based off these same kind of Disney stories, but without Disney's names that they used for the characters, and changed up the names, but had the exact same story. So you could Google that to find out what stories are free stories that are not linked to any kind of copyrights. But you could even use that as an idea. Another thing too is you could just write on topics that you have hobbies in. You could even do what's known as low content books, and what that is you might have to be a little familiar with things like, say, Photoshop. There's a website called Canva, which helps you do illustrations and whatnot, and they have certain free things you can do. And essentially, what a low content book is you create a book that, and you can go online, search YouTube, Google to find out more about low content books. But essentially, what it is you take a book like maybe a coloring book, you create one, or a basic thing, you get some free um, coloring book type of illustrations that you can put into your book, and you create this book on KDP, and essentially you're selling it. And the reason why it's low content books because it doesn't take a lot of content for you to come up with. You're not writing a story, but you get it out there. You give it a little nice fancy cover, and you put it on Amazon. And once it starts getting sold, because people go and look for, say, for a coloring book, and they see that and they go, oh, you know what? Like, I want to do a coloring book. And I mean, I'm sorry, I want to buy a coloring book for my kids, and they see yours, and it starts getting some movement, and it goes into this whole long thing about getting movement in your books and getting people to want to buy it. But once it does get picked up and it starts getting a lot of reviews, and it becomes that number one top, you know, um, on the search engine of Amazon, then all of a sudden you have a lot of people buying it. Those things where you see an item and it has like 10,000 reviews already that is like 4.5 stars, and a lot of people purchased it. At that point, people are just going to keep purchasing it. So that's considered low content books. You could do that whether it's with like an empty journal, whether it's a coloring book, whether it's a organizer, things of that sort. So that's low content books, or like, once again, you can do a full story if you want, whatever you want to do. But it's something that you can do the conveniency of your home that takes very little physical work. You're just pretty much sitting there, have to think about some stuff in your mind of what you want to do, what content you want to put out. So that's that. And the third thing requires no physical anything at all, and that is you can become a content creator, doing videos on things that you like, talking about hobbies that you like, talking about general discussions going on. Maybe it's politics, maybe it's religion, maybe it's something that you're passionate about. But you have a cell phone, you can just record yourself, record something the same way that I do on this channel. Record something and put out your energy, put out your views, put out whatever you want to talk about, and just pump it out. Get into it, get passionate about it, and at some point down the line, you will be able to make money from it. So these are three things that you can do. That Well, the day laborer one is like instant and guaranteed, but obviously it requires your time. So maybe you could have that as a side gig if you already work a job. If you are not working a job, that might be able to become your kind of primary, get yourself started, get yourself back on your feet. Um, if you already have a job, you want a secondary job that doesn't require a lot, the other two options that I mentioned could be right up your alley. So these are easy jobs, easy in the sense that it doesn't take anything for you to get started into them. It doesn't require anything of you other than your time and your energy. And a lot of people don't know about that. So that might really help people out a lot who are in a bind right now, or you don't have a good job, or whatever the case is. These are just things that you could just get into. And I want to put that out there because a lot of times people don't know. And it's nice for us to share these kind of things. And that's what this channel is all about. It's about positivity, uplifting you guys, allowing you guys to have more information spread to your friends and family if they need it. And it's just all about picking each other up. So these are the three things that I just want to put out there. I hope it was helpful. Put in the comments down below anything that you guys want to share. Maybe you guys have extra input for other easy jobs that won't require anything. And I don't mean things where you might say, yeah, this is easy, but you got to go and you got to go get these credentials. You got to go. I'm talking about things that require nothing of you other than get off the couch, and that is it. And even then, some of those things don't even require you getting off the couch. You can sit right on the couch and just do them from there on your laptop. So, comments down below. Hope you guys take care, be safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.